The Raptors have announced a brand new head coach. And I want to talk about this in a different way, because I want to talk about this and sort of make fun of the media in Twitter, because I always like laughing at people pretending like they have to know everything about everything. And I would just like to make a public service announcement.
Yeah. I don't
it's
know.
Okay to say you don't know
this man.
Yeah, you don't know this man's right.
What's wrong with just reading an article about a guy, about somebody who actually is doing their homework, where it's their job to like do some digging and be like, hey, I read at this place that he's good at this. Okay, cool. It's not. Yeah, I heard, I talked to some. Yeah, I have a buddy that I
got my finger on the pulse. Used to play in the
G League. Yeah, give me a fucking break.
Or it's just regurgitating something else you read on Twitter. The amount of copy and paste, but just change a few words of someone else's tweet to say everyone's saying, oh, the Raptors offense, he's going to help their offense because when he was in Memphis, he improved their offense. And when he was in Phoenix, he improved their offense. It's like, oh, okay, cool. That's a good little tidbit, but I have no idea how that's going to work with the Toronto Raptors team. And it's okay to not know and just sit back and be like, okay, well, we're going to see what's going to happen, right? No idea how my guy, what's his name? Darko. Rajakovic.
I'm going Darko.
Sure. But I'm saying it was a weird process. It was a weird process for the Toronto Raptors because they were the last team in terms of teams that had coaching vacancies to fill their vacancy. There are a lot of other names linked because of the way Masai runs his ship. It's not like anything ever leaked. So nobody knew he was going to be the coach, even though all the other big names were off the table. I like where we're at right now, just in terms of the NBA calendar, because nobody knows what's about to happen, and it's a beautiful place to be. And Fred VanVleet declines his offer sheet, and everyone just assumes, oh, he's gone. It's like, guys, it's not how the NBA works. You decline it because he's going to make more next year than the 22 mil that his contract was for. So you decline it and you re-sign it.
Gone. Right?
No, I go the other way. I think the Raps are going to overpay him to stay. Because if they let him go,
a lot more for him had you gotten rid of him at the deadline.
Yeah, man.
You are correct. You are absolutely correct. They should have traded him at the deadline. They should have gotten pieces for him.
You're either going to lose him for nothing or you're going to overpay him.
Exactly. And they're going to overpay him because you'll look like the biggest clowns in the world if you let him walk for nothing. That is a terrible look if you're the Toronto Raptors.
I want to ask you guys a question because I think it needs to be asked. If Darko doesn't work out and, X, Y, and Z happens this summer and let's say Fred's gone or whatever, and this team just stinks, is it too early to have the is Masai washed conversation? Is this, you know what I mean? And I don't want to get ahead of ourselves here because there's a lot that's going to play out here, but we all said it was crazy. I don't know how you guys felt about it, but I remember us talking at work and stuff like that. Thought it was insane that they didn't trade off some of these guys at the trade deadline. It just didn't make sense from a team building perspective, whether you know basketball or not. And now going into this offseason where it seems like I'm where are they going? And no one knows, right? But it just seems crazy. But I don't know. If this doesn't work out and they stick next year, are we comfortable having that conversation in this city?
Well, first, they are going to stink next year. I don't think they're going to be good next year first, but I'll let you go, Webby. Sorry.
I was going to say that Masai I think, has a few moves he can pull out here to try and salvage this. But Tones, if like you say, they really struggle and these guys leave for nothing or if they're overpaid. And the thing is, Masai could leave, but there are 31, 29 other teams in the NBA who would be blowing up his phone as soon as he left. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't matter. I think that Masai at this point is basically playing with house money with the Raptors fans' hearts, because he could screw it up and it wouldn't mean anything to him because he could just bounce and take another job, any job of his choosing, really.
I think Masai leaves when he wants to leave. I don't think there's a scenario where he gets let go. Things would have to get really bad, and I think that he would leave before he gets fired by MLSE. The other part though is that I think the part that we will never fully know about is what they're kind of allowed to do. And what I mean by that is if he went to the board and said, hey, we probably should blow it up, there's a world in which the board is like, we don't want to tank. We want to continue to sell tickets. We're a business. We want to be able, like, we have these projections where we want to raise ticket prices by this percentage each and every year. And can we do that while publicly saying that we're tanking? That's the part that we don't know about. And if you're Masai Ujiri and you wanted to trade everyone at the deadline, but you know that, a month after the deadline, you want to put out a press release about next year's season tickets and ticket prices are going up. Can you do that while being like, hey, we just sold off our whole team at the deadline and we're tanking and hopefully we'll get some ping pong balls to maybe have a 3% chance to get Wembanyama, right? So that's where I think the push-pull comes when you're dealing with a corporation like MLSE. There's other business entities in mind, and you can't just come out and full on say you're going to tank. That part sucks because now you end up playing this role in the middle, which I think that's what they want. They want to just be a team where, like, and I'm saying from a business standpoint, right? From a business standpoint, you make the team competitive, you make the playoffs, you get some extra playoff dates, playoff money, all that fun stuff. And if you win, cool. But you definitely don't want to be in a position where you're tanking, because the biggest thing I say all the time is they still don't understand the fan base. Like, they're worried that if the team sucks, people will stop following the team. And that's not, there's so many people in Toronto that is not the case. Yeah. But they don't understand their fan base. They want to be able to charge a lot of money. This is not a market
now of uneducated basketball fans. The board, the company that owns the team may think that, but that's not the case. And I would think that if you polled Raptors fans of, do you want to keep the status quo, or are you okay throwing away a season or two to make sure that the team is good in the future? I would say that, you'd probably get 80-90% of the fans saying, I care about the future of this team. You have real investment from Toronto Raptors fans, and the company that owns the team has to understand that.
But yeah, now, and I'll say it here too. Fred VanVleet is going to re-sign with the Raptors. The Raptors are going to overpay him to stay in Toronto.
That's on paper.
Yeah, that's my prediction. They're going to overpay him to stay in Toronto, just because it'll be such a terrible look if he leaves for nothing. And then
so bad.
And they have no backup plan. It's not like they have a point guard.
Yeah, like Malachi Flynn's like coming in. Like, all right,
who's going to take over?
Scotty Barnes, your new point guard. Unless then you can, because I read reports that the Hornets really like the kid out of Alabama. Yeah. So if that third pick is on the board, can you finagle it away from Portland to get your guy Scoot?
I'm team Scoot all the time, so
I know Scoot and
roll.
Scoot and Scotty would be pretty. Those are two nice young players.
I feel like I've seen like half the reports of like half the league like just being involved in like a trade up to go get Scoot, and it's like
everyone wants.
We all know how this ends.
Well, beware.
They're just going to stick around and make the pick. Like, it's just it.
The second PSA that I'll make on this pod is we're in the silly season of the NBA right now.
Yes.
So beware of all the stupid Twitter headlines that are going to pop up over the next few weeks involving trades that are just completely made up, of people saying things like, I've heard that this team is interested in doing blank. And it's like, you don't know anything, right? And like, why would you know that? Right? Like, there's no reason for some random Twitter account that nobody's ever heard of before to rant. That'd be like me tweeting tomorrow, the Raptors are very interested in trading up into the draft. It's like, well, no shit, first off. But secondly, right? Like, that cost me nothing to tweet that out. That doesn't mean that I actually know that, or that my sources have told me that. It's just the most obvious thing ever. So, I don't know. Enjoy and take everything with a grain of salt.